You see me all right? I had to start a new live. I couldn't get the other one to pull up on my computer, so. Maybe somebody will find me here. All right, somebody's watching. Who we got? I had a live stream schedule, but what happened was I couldn't get it to pull up on my computer where you go to manage live streams. It wouldn't show up. Hey, JB, what's up, man? What's up, man? I think I got my camera. Might lower it down. That's better. Better for me. Brian, how's it going, man? Mr. 20,000 subs. We're all jealous. Two Hats Garage, how's it going? You know, I had a live stream scheduled and it wouldn't let me turn it on, so I don't know what I did wrong. Two Hacks, did you ever get any more parts ever show up? Kurt, how's it going, man? Carolina Customs. Well, thank you. I've got 4 or 5 of them. Usually the other ones are dirty. This is my clean. This is my going to dinner STP hat. And thank you for showing up. Cool. Carolina Custom Classics. Are you going to be at the No Name Nationals? Okay, yeah, you've got snow. We don't really deal with snow here. If it even has little flurries here, they close the schools and everybody runs to the store and buys all the milk and bread. So in the middle of Georgia, we don't have any equipment to deal with snow, so it pretty much shuts everything down. All right. Hope everybody's doing well tonight. Got the rear end put in, or got the video up of the rear end getting put in the car. When that breaker go off the road, there you go. Yeah, I got the video put in, or got the video up of putting the rear in the Budget Nova. And next couple of days, the video of the front end will be out. And then the transmission will be out later in the week. Yeah, warm weather here will show up in the next 2 weeks probably. I got you. I'll check your channel out. JB, I was on JB's little shop live the other night. That was a good time. We had fun. We made fun of a lot of people. It was a good time. A foot of snow in Missouri Wednesday and Thursday. We haven't had more than a few inches here since 1973. And then we had 16 inches. Two Hacks. Lunar get a lot of snow here, but the plowed snow over the mailboxes. Oh, wow. I'm lucky I don't have to order stuff. I can go up to Summit and pick it up. And a lot of places, I mean, I know Two Hacks, I know you called and they said it was in stock, and then you got the email, they said it wasn't. I've got a friend of mine that owns a shop, and he's called a few places and had the same exact thing happen where he's called and they've told him the parts were in stock. And then after he paid for them, all of a sudden the parts weren't in stock anymore. So, all right, Luna, we'll see you in a minute. And I didn't give much notice on this live feed because I thought I wasn't going to be home in time. But here we are. And I don't know if there's another live feed that's scheduled and everybody's sitting there waiting on that. But Yeah, and ordering stuff, like on the rear, putting the rear end in that Nova, and that's been a few weeks ago that I bought those red isolators, the leaf spring isolators. Nobody had black in stock, so I just got the red ones. Oh, you're in Aiken? I'm in Middle Georgia. I'm right below Macon. I'm right below Macon, about 30 miles south of Macon. Y'all might actually get a little bit of snow compared to us. Let me see if this is showing that I did another live feed here. I got to cancel the other one. My buddy Brian is helping me out. Let's see. Okay. So I think everybody's on another feed and they're going to come over here. So sorry about that, guys. Yep. Yeah, I lost my feed. I'll explain to everybody when they get on here. All right. Where are you at, 2Hacks? What state are you in? You lived in Athens for a while? Yeah. Athens is kind of a weird city to me in Georgia. Nothing wrong with it. Just with the college there and all that, it's Athens is a little bit different. In Illinois, okay. I think the only place I've been in Illinois was Metropolis, Illinois, which is right there by Paducah, Kentucky. Go through there on the way to, when we go across I-70, anytime we're going out west in that area, we'll go up I-70 or whatever. We drove to Yellowstone last year and went through I-70, went up there and spent the night in Metropolis. All right, so people are starting to show up now. I had a couple of things. I don't know if Zach, if you're on here right now or not, but Zach Howe had a question about a fuel injection or a carburetor and fuel pump. So 57 Chevy in Manchester. That's not far from me at all. Yeah, lots of pecan trees. Pecans, 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 pecans. There's all kind of ways to say it too. North of St. Louis and 2 hours south of Chicago. So you keep an unlimited supply of ammunition. Got it. In case you have to go more than 2 hours away from your house. I kid. I'm joking. Obsessive Garage. Hey, how's it going, man? You want me to answer your question? He's going to run a 650 carburetor, and it doesn't have a spot for a fuel pump. Now, on a Vortex block doesn't have a spot for a fuel pump. Now, what I would do in that situation is I would definitely try to get an intake pump. It's going to be less noisy if you do an intake pump setup. But, hey, Brian, thanks for helping me out there, man. I tried to get the other live feed going, and I couldn't, so I had to start a second one. So if you've got a block that doesn't have the fuel pump boss on it, what you need to do is probably run an intake pump, because if you're going to drive this car on the street a bunch and you put one on the frame rail or somewhere like that, most of them are noisy if they're going to move any kind of fuel at all. And they need to be in the back because they're going to pump or they're going to push fuel better than they're going to pull fuel. So any electric pump needs to be in the back. Don't mount one up front. I did that a long time ago with a Firebird I had, and I kept running out of fuel. Really, I did it because my other fuel pump went bad, and I broke down, and it got me home. And then I left it like that because I was lazy. But next time I went to the track, it laid over on me because it was running lean. Couldn't pull the fuel from the tank. So anyway, I would put an electric in-tank pump in. Now, it does have the disadvantage of if it ever goes bad, you've got to drop the tank to change it. But if you put one on the rail, like I said, as long as you can isolate it where it won't be noisy, that's fine. So, Bowden, Georgia, west of Atlanta. So you're over near almost the Alabama line. You're right off I-20 or near Rome, somewhere around there. Zach, did that answer your question? I hope it did. And somebody had asked me a question about on the live feed or on my last video, somebody asked me a question about setting up a rear end. So if you're here, speak up and I will try to answer your question. I have a good answer for you. If not, I'll answer your question on the video. Bowden, Georgia. That must be a small town. Yeah, because I don't think I've heard of Bowden. Maybe I have. Is that Cedartown? Cedartown is when I go to Cedartown, Georgia, I used to go out 20 and then go north almost to Alabama line and then head north, I think, near Noonan. Noonan, is that right? Somewhere up there. Yep. And you guys look, if I know there's only, I'll wait to say that till there's more people on here. Let's hope more people show up. But yeah, we've got the rear end in. I'm working on the subframe now. That'll be in, and I'll have that video out in the next few days. And then I'll have the transmission put together, hopefully tomorrow or Tuesday. And then that video will be out a couple of days later. I've been trying to film with 2 cameras, and it takes me a lot longer, so I might stop doing that. It takes me a lot longer to edit when I have 2 cameras because it's really twice the video clips. And then I have to sync the sound up between the 2 so it doesn't look like a bad kung fu movie. And it's okay, John. Thank you for being here. Hey, I was late too. This is not even the live feed I've tried to start. And yeah, so it takes a lot longer to edit the videos if I use 2 cameras. So sometimes the effect is better, but yeah, you're right in between. Okay, I know about where you're at then. So yeah, so it takes a lot longer. So I'm just going to probably continue shooting with 1 camera. I might shoot with the second camera, but not use it for editing unless it just happens to capture something good that I want to use in a video. And I only use a microphone on one of the cameras. The other one I don't use a microphone on. I use GoPros. Two Hacks Garage. Are you planning on running any nitrous, or are we going to do motor to motor? And I need to answer your video with another video. I might do that tonight after this live is over. I've just been super, super busy. Brian, you're at home right now, though, aren't you? Your connection sucks. Yeah, mine usually does. It's all right tonight. Of course, the camera on my laptop stinks, so I got me a separate webcam. It's doing a little bit better than the laptop camera was doing. All motor? Okay, good. I prefer running all motor, but it'll be motor to motor then. That'll be fun. And if I break the motor between now and then going to race week, I'll still use a 350. Cool, no problem, Zach. Yep. Cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully you get your parts in. You got plenty of time, but still, you can't waste too much time because, or not that you're wasting it. You can't afford to lose too much time because everything's so hard to get right now. And maybe try Ohio Crank or somewhere. Maybe that's where you tried it. But I know they do a lot of crankshaft stuff. I've never bought anything from them. Yeah, it's going to be fun. And guys, if you haven't already, check out. There's a couple of channels here that want to go to their No Name Nationals, and they're going to need 500 subscribers by September. Now that's a long way away, but at the same time, you never know how things are going to go. So Two Hacks Garage, JB's Little Shop. There's a few of them on here that are trying to get to. What you need to do is you need to go to YouTube and you need to search for No Name Nationals. Hashtag No Name Nationals, and a ton of videos are going to pop up. And you're going to see a lot of channels that are trying to get to 500 subscribers so they can participate. It's a YouTube creator race. And, well, car show race, burnout competition, whatever. And they're going to have, you have to have 500 subs on your channel to participate. And you got a lot of guys that have already signed up. They don't have 500 subs yet, and they're anticipating having that meeting. So go there, search them out. If you find a channel you like, give them a sub so they'll be qualified. I'm not worried about Two Hacks. Some of the other channels I've seen, they might struggle a little bit. And they might surprise me with a regulator. Yes. Now, ideally, you would find I think they make a fuel tank, in-tank pump that is self-returning and self-regulated. If not, make sure you find a regulator that will work with carburetors. Make sure you find a low-pressure in-tank pump, because usually your in-tank pumps are centered on fuel injection, and you're going to need a lower pressure for a carburetor. Nothing wrong with a deadhead setup, but like I said, just make sure it's hard to regulate a fuel injection pump down. That doesn't work well. I know people that have tried it, and what it ends up causing is causing you to have vapor lock real bad. So yeah, try to run a return line, or try to run a self-regulated pump in the tank. I know Holly has a few in-tank pumps. They're not cheap though. No problem. And if I look, I've got your message where you sent it to me, and I might do some research later tonight when I'm bored, and I'll send you a message and let you know if I have a better answer for you on that. Mike, Zach, and hey, mate, how's good? Good to see you, man. Thank you. I hope I didn't butcher your last name, Zachin. But yeah, it's good to be alive again. Finally got another video out. I've been working so much lately trying to catch up. It gets cold here and people freak out because they're going to freeze to death. And that's okay. I make money with it, so that's okay. It's good to be busy. That helps me pay for all this Nova stuff. Yep. Yeah, it's trying to catch up on the comments here. Yeah, and then Two Hacks Garage, if those of you don't know it, Two Hacks Garage called me out for the No Name Nationals. He's going to run in a 68 T-Bird, 68 or 69 T-Bird called Larry T-Bird. I'm taking Frankenova. He's got a 521 big block, and I'm running a 350 small block. And we're running all motor heads up. Best 2 out of 3, I think. Yeah, Leon Farino said that the GM vet style fuel filter and regulator combination, I'm not sure if they will regulate down to carburetor fuel pressure, though. I thought to mention that. And they may make one that works that way. I'm not positive. Blood thinners, yeah, can't handle the cold. I used to be a lot more cold-natured than I am now, but the heat doesn't bother me at all. I'm working in attics that are 120, 140 degrees sometimes, and the heat doesn't bother me too bad at all. And I mean, I don't enjoy it necessarily, but it doesn't bother me too bad. But the cold bothers me less some days and more others. Today, it's not even that cold here, and it was about to kill me earlier. It was definitely not it felt a lot colder than it was. So it's 46 here right now. Feels like 43, and it felt like 33 earlier. 72 Nova has a 383 to 350 trans. Butcher the trans mount. Yeah, so if you're going to put a 4-speed in there, if you go with a Muncie or something like that, I think the Muncie uses the same transmission cross member as the 350. I can't remember there, and it's been a while since I researched that, so trying to bring it up off the top of my head, I'm not positive, but I know that you can do. I know that you can. There's a couple of them that people have flipped the mounts on some of the transmissions, and they worked out okay. So it really just depends on which transmission you use. If you're going with a 383, you're going to be making some torque. So almost any 4-speed you put in there is going to be fairly weak for it, other than a Muncie or a Super T10. Now, if you get a Saginaw 4-speed, you'll break it with a 307 probably. So I would be, yeah, the code never bothered me anyways. Yeah, so I would be wary of putting anything too weak in there. Unity, hey, how's it going, man? Okay, there you go, Zach. Unity said you can run a Mallory 4309 regulator, but you're going to need a big return line back to the tank. So, and you guys want some tech stuff, carburetors, camshaft, stuff like that, check out Unity Motorsports Garage. He's going to be there with Casper, and he's going to race Uncle Tony. That is going to be a good race. I think Uncle Tony's going to lose. But not that I don't have any faith in Bottle Rocket, but I think that I think the problem is going to be you've got a 600 horsepower truck and Uncle Tony's running the 318. And I think the problem is going to be Uncle Tony has a lot of ground to make up. So he's going to make that up with Big Blue Bottle. And that's going to be either spectacular and it's going to be a close race, or it's going to be spectacular and he's going to drive over his oil filter. Hope not. I hope that doesn't happen. Not wishing that on anybody. Below zero all week in Western Colorado. Finally got a heater. That's not bad. 50, 60, 55 or 60 in there with it being that cold. That's not bad at all. It depends on if, I think Unity Motorsports Garage is saying that you can run a 4309 regulator maybe with a fuel injected pump. I'm not sure if he means that or with an in-tank carburetor pump. I know they make intake pumps set up for carburetor pressure. And by carburetor, it's still going to be to 20 PSI, but you can knock 20 PSI down to 7. And if are you running an Edelbrock or a Holly? And Edelbrock can't take as much pressure as a Holly. Either way, if with almost any kind of street motor, 6 or 7 PSI is going to be plenty. You just got to be careful not to get too much pressure drop, or you're going to end up with vapor lock problem. Oh, I don't doubt Bottle Rocket for a moment. I just think that your truck is sorted out and Bottle Rocket isn't. So, and maybe by then it will be. So, and I think you've got about 600 horsepower or so, and that's in the old motor. John Wilmer is here. Hey, man, how's it going? Yeah, he's talking about, okay, so he was talking about an EFI pump that you can regulate with that 4309 regulator. John Wilburn is the guy that him and Dallas from AHRA are the ones that are putting on the No Name Nationals. So, yes, that was a good torque converter video, and he's right. That can change your entire combo. I mean, I've seen several times where people can't get it figured out. They finally call a torque converter company instead of asking a bunch of people online what converter they should use. You can actually call a torque converter company, give them your whole combination, and they will custom build you or suggest a converter for you. Set it up how you want it, and it makes a giant difference. And I mean, really, the cost difference isn't that much. Now, if you have to go real custom, then yeah, absolutely, it's going to be more money. But an off-the-shelf converter is rarely going to fit very many cars without a specific combination. Bigfoot from Mopars. Yeah, he's got some great tech on his channel. I've been watching some of his older videos. What does your truck weigh, if you don't mind me asking, Andy? Top Line Converter. You know, honestly, I've never heard of them. I'll have to check them out. The best converter I ever had was from a company called Trans King or somebody. I think they were in Texas or New Orleans or somewhere like that. And I think after Hurricane Katrina, they went out of business. I think somebody else started another company or tooling, or I can't remember exactly, but I had a converter set up from them that was fantastic, but that's been a long time ago. 4,080 pounds. Wow. That's going to be a good race, though. I'm looking forward to it. Cool. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Obsessive Garage, EFI pump, but a mounted for them with a larger return line. Yep, probably. I agree. So, and I will be running fuel injection on Frankenova. I've got the Holly Terminator Max, or I've got the Holly Terminator Stealth Max. I'm going to be doing a video on that here in the next week or two. I've got all the stuff already. I just got to figure out. Cool. I just got to figure out what I'm going to do as far as a couple other things on the car. But I'm going to do the. I got to figure out if I'm going to put a fuel cell in it for Rocky Mountain Race Week, or if I'm going to keep the factory tank and then use an intake pump that is made for the 69 Novas. I'm not sure yet, because for race week, I want a larger tank. What I've got in there now is a stock 69 tank, and it's a 16-gallon tank. If I put in a fuel cell, I can get a few more gallons. Now, Tanks Inc. does make a larger tank that is the factory style that is, I think, a 20-gallon tank, and that might be better too. Can you still buy new 4-speed trans? Yes, you can. You can buy a new Super T10 or something close to it. I can't remember who sells it, but it's a copy of a Super T10 if not. Summit has them in their catalog. If you go to Summit Racing, they have them. I know other people have it. I just can't think of anyone else I've seen advertise it. Yep. Cool. Well, he works on converters and talks on the phone on Sundays. That's good news. And he's not just a Mopar guy, right? He can do GM stuff. I mean, converters are converters. I guess the outer shell is the only difference. Cool. I'll have to give him a call and see. I've got an FTI converter in Frankenova right now, and I'm happy with it. But I'm not sure if I'm going to keep that one in there for Rocky Mountain Race Week, just because it's about a 4,000 stall. And with the 410 gear I've got in there, the motor's making enough torque to where it's stalling a little higher than I thought it was going to stall. Generally, the advertised stall on a converter is nowhere close to what it's actually going to stall. The heavier the car is, the shorter gear you have, the more torque the motor's making, that changes your stall speed. Line pressure. Hey, Brian's back. No, you didn't miss anything, man. Just everything that happened since you were gone, but that's no big deal. But on stall converter torque or torque converter stall speed, everything from the vehicle weight, your brakes, whether you're using a trans brake, the gear you've got, line pressure on your transmission, all of that changes the stall speed. Wow. Yeah, I've got a buddy that has a twin turbo car, and they run some of that they run some of those converters that are $5,000 or $6,000, $7,000. It's crazy. Of course, when you're running threes in the 8th mile, everything about the car is crazy. So. And while I'm at the No Name Nationals, I'm also going to run Lunar Outlaw. Brian at Lunar Outlaw's Garage, he's got a 1UZ swapped Supra. Did I get that right, Brian? I hope I didn't screw that up. Yeah, those are above my pay grade too by a mile. I can build a whole car for the price of a converter. It's an 89 Toyota Supra. Me and him are going to race too. And then also, hopefully, we're going to be, I'm not sure. I've got to figure out my wife's vacation schedule. And we're planning on doing Hot Rod Power Tour also. I'm not sure what days we're going to be where, but it ends up in Atlanta, or Atlanta Motor Speedway, which is in Hampton, close to Summit Racing in Atlanta. And I plan on being there. At least I'll be at that stop. I want to be all of it, but we've already taken a bunch of vacation, already scheduled a bunch of vacations, so we'll have to check that out. It's going to be a good time. And I think there's going to be a lot of people. I think DD Speed Shop has mentioned going on Power Tour. I'm not sure. I don't think he's doing No Name Nationals. There's a few of them guys that are in Canada that aren't doing it and some that are. But that's going to be a big event. It's going to be a pretty cool event. You're going to have a lot of YouTubers there. I get the feeling there's going to be some bigger names showing up that we don't know about yet. Maybe. I think it's gotten a lot of attention. And on John Wilburn's live the other night with Dallas, I showed up the last 5 minutes, but then I went back and rewatched the whole thing. And they were talking about having some, there's a lot of people that have signed up that they haven't announced yet just because they're waiting on those people to make their announcements. And it's getting a lot of traction. A lot of people have started trying to get subs to make it to it, or just called out other people that already have enough subs and stuff like that. So, hey, Hippie, how's it going to be? How's it going? How's it going to be? I'm losing my mind here. So, yeah, anyway, so it's going to be a big event, and hopefully year after year we're going to have that. But it's for any YouTube creators. It's going to be drag race, burnout contest. Yeah, it's going to be all kind of cool. Exhibition, car show, lots of things. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Power Tour definitely. And, and that Power Tour came through the town I live in 15 years or so ago. It stopped here, and for one day, it was pretty cool. That's been a few years ago, but we went out there too. We didn't drive anything, but we went out to the stop. Now this sick week is going on right now. It started today, and I'm going to drive a couple hours south of here on Thursday and go down to South Georgia Motorsports Park and watch some of that. And Lunar just hit 20,000 subs this week, so that's a big deal for him. So congrats to you, Brian, because that was pretty awesome. Maybe one day the rest of us will get there. All us little people. Don't forget us, man. But yeah, I'm going to make a few changes to Frankenova for Rocky Mountain Race Week. That's in June. And then anything big that I change, I'll probably change back for No Name Nationals, unless I blow the engine up, which I don't really foresee that. I did an okay job building it. Carbureted C6 Auto 3500s, 430s. Yeah, we're going to be a good match. And really the only reason I'm going fuel injection is for Rocky Mountain Race Week, and I'll probably leave it on the car. But if you're tuning a carburetor, you're probably better at tuning a carburetor than I am tuning fuel injection. So Rocky Meyer said, if it's a success, hopefully you guys have a no-name point series, a fall, a spring, a summer no-name apps. That would be cool. It'd take a lot of, I bet it's a lot of work. Them guys are probably working their butts off trying to get this done. I mean, you got to figure all the scheduling of the tracks. But, it's just one track, but the schedule of the track, get all that worked out, make sure all your contingencies are in for rain, and get your rules up. There's always going to be gray areas in questions that people are going to have about kind of stuff like that. It's a lot of work. I would be terrified to put on an event like that. Yeah, so 2 Hacks is going to have a 521 big block, a C6 automatic, and 430 gears. Cool. And my car is going to weigh about 3,300 pounds with me in it. It's all steel. There's no fiberglass on it. So steel hood, steel deck lid. roll bar, roll cage, whatever, and it'll have the aluminum headed small block in it. And I think Brian's Super, if you correct me if I'm wrong, Brian, I think your Super is only going to be 3,000 pounds or less, right? 2,800 pounds, something like that. And that little, those little Supers, man, the horsepower to weight ratio is pretty good in those things. And I believe he is planning on driving his to Missouri from New York. Frankenova should run pretty good. I hope so. I've ran a combination close to that before. Frankenova still hasn't been to the track, but I think the 28th of this month, the track opens back up, and I'm going to try to have it there then. So I would like to run it with the carburetor first and see what the difference is between that and the fuel injection. But I want to get the fuel injection done, so I'll probably just go ahead and swap it over to fuel injection. And I don't know if I'm going to take it to the dyno first, the chassis dyno first, or take it to the track first. Gotcha. 4,100. Okay, that's not bad. But yeah, Frankenova, I really built the car to run in the high 11s, hopefully. Maybe a little better. Maybe it'll surprise me. Maybe it will surprise me. Let's see here. I don't think it's a 2JZ Super. I think it's a 1UZ. I think he did a different swap. He didn't do the regular swap. Dude, I haven't seen the No Way Home yet, but I need to go see it. But yeah, definitely. I really enjoyed the last Spider-Man movie. I heard it was pretty good, so I'll have to see that. And I'm not sure if that dude's going to play Spider-Man anymore or not. I've also got a big block at the machine shop being worked on. It's been there for a while. I traded some work for it, so he's getting to it when he gets to it, and that's fine with me. But I'm going to have a big block project coming up at some point. A budget big block project. And hopefully by this weekend, I'll have another video. I'm not going to tell y'all what that one is. I should have another video out this week. Depends on how that goes. It might be a complete failure, so maybe there won't be a video, but it'll be the first video of its kind that I've done. So we'll see how that goes. Depends on the weather, really, because it won't be something in the shop. All right, Two Hacks. We'll see you later, man. Thank you for stopping by. The big block, I'm not sure yet. I've got 3 other Novas, so probably the 69. Either the 69 that it was originally going to be the grudge race car that I've ended up changing all the sheet metal on. Either that car or a 71 that I have in storage. That's going to be another budget build. I've got 3 more 2-door cars. I've got a 72 and a 71 that you guys really haven't seen. You've seen them just in background stuff, but I've never had a video on them. I've got those 2 cars, and they're both super rusty. And then I have a 69 that you guys seen the rust repair on that was going to be the original grudge car. I've got those cars. Those are my 3 to pick from. The 4-door. Well, I've got another plan for the 4-door. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that transmission video too, because the No problem, Brian. Hey, is that a one UZ? What motor is in there? I was trying to tell them what motor you had in the Supra, and I couldn't remember. And when you say 3-year-olds, you mean two of them because they're the twins, right? Doesn't seem like they're 3 years old. Wow. Farm Kid is here. It's cold where he's at. He's up in the tundra somewhere, the frozen tundra of Saskatchewan or Ontario or Uzbekistan, somewhere like that. I don't know where's that. He's in Canada. And there's like 700 trucks all in a row somewhere close to him. No, I'm not sure. I don't know where that's at. Alberta, thank you. I named everywhere in Canada except Alberta, so my apologies. I probably know more Mexican states than I do provinces or sections of Canada. M120, U1Z. Okay, 1UZ. I can't say anything right tonight. All right. Yeah, so it's going to be it's going to be wide open once it gets warm here because then once it gets dark at 7 or 8 o'clock at night, it'll be a lot better. Convoy Block A is 500 miles from you. Wow. Hey, Lunar, what else are you working on right now? I know you've got that other car you just took care of, the Buick or something. Are you still working on that? Not the Buick. What's the car they're road tripping? Did you get that car? I was on your live last night, but we were driving and I lost service. And I'm trying to get set up to where I have a big screen right here where I can see the comments and I can look at the camera instead of y'all looking at me looking at my computer the whole time. Wow. Yeah, I can't believe the little one's already 9 months. That's crazy. We got about 18 minutes left. I'm going to try to start cutting these things to about an hour because sitting here for 2 hours, I'm fine with it. But 5-year-old loves a Nova. I got a cat named Nova and a cat named Holly. And I got a dog named Bumper and a dog named Dash. So all my animals are named after car parts or cars. 64 Chevy. Cool. Yeah, trucks down here, man. Old trucks like that down here, they are beat to death. Most of them are used on farms or whatever. And the C10, cool. My dad had a 66 stepside. I'd like to have one like that. It's a pretty cool truck. A Buick Century Regal, 73. Ah, gotcha. Okay. Some reason I thought you bought the 73 Buick. Okay. You just helped him get it going. I got you. Cool. Yeah, send me some pics, Russ. That'd be cool. Yeah, so somebody asked me on one of my videos earlier, somebody asked me a question about they bought a new set of gears, ring and pinion gear. And normally on a pinion gear, you have a pinion depth engraved on the end of the gear. And what happens is that tells you how far from the center of the carrier bearing to the face of the pinion gear to mount your pinion to set up your pinion depth. And you need a pinion depth tool to measure that. Now, what happens is some gears, like the Auburn gear that I bought, this is my 73, does not have a normal measurement. It's got a measurement basically that includes the entire depth of the pinion gear, so all the way to the back side of it. So you have to measure the entire pinion gear and then deduct the width of the pinion gear from the measurement that it gives you, and then that gives you the correct pinion depth. More rust and truck? Yeah, I bet. Hey, John, Hot Rods and 4x4s. Thank you, man. Thank you for stopping by. Mini spool. All right, your 73 Nova has an 8.5 inch with 28 spline axles. Just keep in mind that mini spool on the street is going to be a little noisy, and if you're using stock axles with it, you got to do C-clip eliminators. I don't think you can use C-clips. Double check when you buy one and make sure that you can use C-clips with a mini spool. I think some of them are eliminate the C-clips and you can't use them. So double check. Yes, your 10 bolts and 8.5. On a 73 it is. In 72, they went to the 8.5 inch 10 bolt. So I think all of 72 is 8.5 inch 10 bolt. 71 and back, you could get either the 12 bolt or the 8.2 inch 10 bolt. So starting in 72, you had the 8.5 inch 10 bolt, which really is just as strong as a 12 bolt. It has the ears, that's the 8.5 inch. The ones with the rounded, it doesn't have the 2 ears at the bottom. That is, if it does not have those, that's the 8.2. The 8.5 has the 2 corners on it. And the 12 bolt has an 8 3/4 ring gear. So it's a 1/4 inch larger diameter ring gear. Everything else about the 12 bolt is the same as 8.5 inch 10 bolt. They both have the same size pinion gear. It's just a larger. Now the hypoid center of the gear is different on the 12 bolt slightly than 8.5 because of the ring gear diameter. And a lot of times when you have a larger ring gear diameter, like a 9-inch Ford or something like that, referring to the ring gear diameter, what changes is the hypoid center of your pinion gear to your ring gear. And I think the Chrysler 8 3/4 has the best combination of resistance of turning and the tooth engagement. But an 8.5 inch and a 12 bolt. Now the 12 bolt from the factory does have 30 spline axles, so that's a little bit beefier. They're still tapered like all other GM axles. But if you take and put 30 spline axles in your 8.5 inch 10 bolt, it's not going to be a problem. Matter of fact, the rear end that's in Frankenova, a long time ago, the shop I worked at, my boss there had that rear end with the same axles that are in it now. Moser axles, C-clip eliminators, a 373 gear, and a factory posi running a ring gear spacer. And he had a big block that would run 1190s on motor, and he was spraying a 250 shot on it running low 10s. And that was in a 72 Nova with a turbo 350. So he was doing that, and it was taking it with no problem. So they're pretty strong. Okay, yeah. So what year is that Buick Leonard? Because now BOP has a 12 bolt that's not a 12 bolt. They have a rear end housing that is a 10 bolt ring gear, but it's got 12 bolts on the cover, and it looks very similar to the 12 bolt GM rear end. Now, I don't know if it's a coincidence, but on a 10 bolt GM rear end, the cover has 10 bolts on it. On the 12 bolt, the cover has 12 bolts. However, the 12 bolt, 10 bolt is actually referring to the ring gear bolts, not the cover bolts. And a lot of people didn't know that. I didn't know it for a long time until I started actually taking rear ends apart 20-something years ago. But so there is a BOP rear end in one of those three that it has bolt-in axles, because I think a lot of the BOP stuff had the bolt-in style axles. It has a 12 bolt cover, but you take that off and it's got 10 bolts holding the ring gear in. Yeah. Yeah, if you're going to do shackles or air shocks, probably the air shocks is better because the bladder in the air shocks extends the shock up. And if you do the shackles, you need shock extenders. So air shocks are better than shackles for raising the rear end of the car up. Yeah, nothing wrong with the 8.2 rear end. I mean, if you're on the street with it, if you're not, if you've got an automatic and you're not getting traction, you're probably not going to break the 8.2 if you have some type of traction bars. What usually breaks a GM rear end or even a Ford rear end, I'll just say most rear ends, is wheel hop. And what happens is you start going, the wheel starts jumping because the axle, now Mopar really doesn't have this problem because their rear ends are not centered in the leaf spring. They're farther towards the front, so they don't get the leaf spring wrap up the front part of the spring like a GM car or any car that's got a leaf spring centered axle. But what happens is the leaf spring tries to wrap up and unwrap. It causes the back tires to wheel hop. And then you have traction or load, no load, load, no load. And what happens is your carrier with the shock tries to push out, and it actually will either shred one of the main caps holding the carrier into the rear housing, and that increases the distance between the pinion and the ring gear, and it slips, and then carnage ensues. So usually wheel hop is what kills a rear end. So if you have an 8.2, a lot of traction is going to kill it, or a little wheel hop is going to kill it. If you're driving it on the street and you don't shake the tires or anything like that, you're going to be okay. Leon had a 12 bolt behind a big block 411 1040s glide trans brake in 68 Camaro. Yeah, the 12 bolts will definitely help some. Yeah, the 73 has a turbo 350 in the LS. Yep. Okay, so Tony Genesio, he re-arched his rear springs. Now, some of you guys live in a place that has spring companies close by that can do that kind of work. I don't think there might be someone in Atlanta, but I don't think there's anyone anywhere near me that can re-arch leaf springs. So Atlanta's a pretty big city, but they don't have anything like that I know of that offers it as far as that I've heard anyone talk about. To me, $500, you can't build a racing 10 bolt for that. Is it an 8.2 or 8.5? Yeah, wheel hop will break a rear end in a hurry. Something's, like Farm Kid said, something's going to give. And it's usually going to be your carrier is going to separate from your pinion a little bit. And once you open up that space between your pinion and your ring gear, it's going to shred it. And then if the fragments get up in there and lock the gear up, you can actually grenade the housing. I've seen that happen a few times usually that's on a work truck or something like that, though. But yeah, Edward Torrance said he couldn't get rid of his racing 10 bolt. Only one at $500 is too much. I don't think so, because if you've got any decent axles, even C-clip, if you've got stock axles with C-clip eliminators, you've spent $200, and then a gear is a gear now is $350, and a year ago or a year and a half ago they were $200. So gears have went way up in price. So yeah, you're going to spend $500 on gear and C-clip eliminators, and you don't even have a spool or a posi unit yet. $500 is cheap for a decent 10 bolt. Thank you, Andy. Yeah, y'all hit the like button, please. And I like doing tech videos, but there's I need to do some more tech videos. I like doing them, but I start rambling too much when I do them. Tommy Cook's in the house. How's it going, dude? And Skip, if you are watching, if you're one of the people watching, I don't typically give my phone number out. So Skip sent me a message on Facebook, and I meant to respond to him, but he was asking for my phone number so he could ask me the question without typing it all out. And I'll reply to your message, but I don't like giving my phone number out too much. Factory leaf springs are extremely warped, and yeah. Now your new leaf springs are probably going to sit pretty high. I've got a set. I've got a set on my 70. Well, the set that I have on Frankenova now were originally on my 73, and when I first got those, they set up pretty high. I didn't like them. It took a little while for those things to settle a little bit. And honestly, the budget Nova rear end video that I just put up today, the right side of the car is up. I measured it this morning. It's up 2 inches higher than the left side of the car. I have no idea why. I don't know if the spring is sagging. I don't know if something's binding on the right side. So I might have to swap leaf springs out on the rear end I just put in there for that video. So, okay, so if it's the Big 10 bolt, it's the 8.5 inch. That's probably which one it is. Thank you, Michael. Yeah, I try to do research. I try to do research when I do my videos to make sure I'm not running my mouth off and I'm going to look stupid later. Dude, I have seen that Bullet Field GTO. I'm subscribed to his channel. I'm watching the Pole Barn Garage. I've missed the last couple of videos. I haven't caught up with him yet, but he bought that thing for I think $200. It probably cost him more in gas to go get it than it did to pay for it. And I can't believe it had an engine and transmission in it. So that is a wild build. And I think he is planning on being at the No Name Nationals. I think he's planning on driving the car there. So pretty cool car. And I don't think he's on here, but Thumper, the sweaty fat guy, he's got a channel, and he's going to build a GTO at some point, and he's calling it the second worst GTO in the world. And I think the first worst we all know is the Holy Goat. Yeah. Like I said, if I want to, one day I want to do a period correct car where I'm going to do an 80s style build, and it's going to be jacked up, and it's going to have all vintage parts, front to back. I'm going to use as many vintage parts as I can on it. And I want to build one of those cars. I think it'd be a cool build. Yes, he seems like a pretty cool guy. I would like to build a ridiculously jacked up car, like obscenely, almost a caricature of a jacked up car. I would like to do something crazy like that. I think it'd be funny. And I don't know if you Vice Grip Garage, you see his new NASCAR Monte Carlo that he built. That's pretty cool. Stay on here a few more minutes. There you go. Yeah, Tony's got a cool car, man. His is a sweet ride. His is in an auto cocoon because it's like Siberia where he's at. He's in Maine, and it's very cold there, and cars don't come out and play any during the winter up there. I need to get to Maine. Me and my wife want to do a trip up to New England and go to a lot of that area up there. Of course, I think Tony, you're in northern Maine, right? Like you're in boonies. Your Cutlass is straight out of the 80s. What year's your Cutlass? I would love to have a 70 Cutlass. And okay, so I'm going to show some ignorance on Cutlasses here. I don't know what the difference is, but there's a 70 Cutlass that's got the rounded quarter panel, and I think there's a 70 Cutlass model that's got the squared off quarter panel. I don't know the difference. But a buddy of mine had a gold 70 Cutlass with a 350 in it, and man, that thing was such a nice car. I'd love to have one like 84. So is it like a Hearst old style? Those are cool cars. To me, that's when the mid 80s, early 80s to mid 80s G body NASCAR cars were out there. The stock cars, that was the coolest looking cars to me for NASCAR. Camp is way north. The capital. There you go. No problem, farm kid. You can just let me know whenever you have any more, and I'll answer those too. One day I'm going to get up to the Alcan Highway, and I'll come by and say, hey, I want to do a road trip. My favorite, I don't know about you guys, but I love roadkill. And one of my favorite roadkill episodes is when they take the Ranchero and drive it to Alaska. That looks like an epic road trip. So it would be nice to drive to Alaska in any vehicle, but hopefully one day I'll get to do it in something old. Yeah, all those early to mid 80s G bodies are those are good looking cars. $7 miles from the start of the Alcan. That's pretty cool. Yeah, a friend of mine used to have a 79 Cutlass, and we were broke down. I was so we broke down. The fan belt broke, and she took pantyhose and wrapped them around. I had never, her dad had taught her that trick, and we were going to pick her husband up at work, and she lived down the street from me, and I was friends with her husband, so we were going to pick that up, and she had a 79 Cutlass. Belt came off, broke, whatever. Car started overheating, and she took pantyhose, tied it around there, tied it in a knot, and it got us up the road to a station. And this is back when you still had gas stations that had belts and stuff, and a service station that would fix it while you were there, which was pretty neat. Hey, no problem, JB. No problem. And you know what I was talking about on that, just to be clear, because saying it and typing it's two different things. They make a ProFit coupling that you can buy. It's almost like a shark bite for plumbing, but it's made for refrigerant and freon lines. And you can just cut the line, cut the bad section out, add a piece in. You need two couplings, but if not, you can just put, if you've got some slack in your refrigerant line, you can just put that piece in there and push it in. And as long as you push it in all the way, it's rated to like 500 or 600 psi. So, and then all you need is a vacuum and get you some Freon, which the Freon's the hard part. Engine Masters and Roadkill Garage. Yeah. I actually checked into buying a dyno like last year. I've been in touch with the guy from Superflow several times, and I would love to have a dyno. And what's keeping me from doing one right now is not having a shop, because you need a dedicated area, and I don't have enough shop here to do that. Plus, my neighbors would probably shoot me. I'm probably borderline. I probably don't know how often I've almost been taken out by a neighborhood sniper for all the junk in my yard, but I haven't. So maybe they're just waiting for their opportune moment. So anyway, I wanted to get an engine dyno, and I started checking into the prices of them because I know how much a chassis dyno costs. And let's just say an engine dyno is way more expensive, like way more expensive. If you buy a used one, it's usually outdated, and by the time you update everything, it's just as expensive as a new one. So I really would like to do an engine dyno and build some crazy engine combinations like Chevy 307s. But they're very, very expensive. So that'll have to wait until YouTube makes me a billionaire, which is not going to happen. Yeah, I've learned a lot, and honestly, I did that other video about learning how to work on stuff. And, growing up, I was reading car magazines cover to cover. That's where I got a lot of my tech. You had Jeff Smith, Marlon Davids, Pete Bestier, Freiberger, all those guys. They would go in, not just, like I said, they would either interview someone who knew someone from Comp Cams or someone from Lenati or someone from Edelbrock or Brodix or whoever. They would either have articles with questions answered by those guys that are top of their game, or they would already know the answers. So a lot of that stuff, I learned from reading car magazines cover to cover. And then some of that stuff was just flat out wrong, and I didn't know it till years later. A lot of information was put out. Now, I've got 2 or 3 copies of Dave Vizard's book, the How to Build a Small Block Chevrolet. I've got 2 or 3 of those books, and I pretty much don't worry about him being wrong. So he's the guru. Use the wind in my hair dyno. The point of the hockey locks. There you go. Street dyno. That's right. Yeah, to get a Superflow dyno, you're looking at, by the time you get the room built and all the associated stuff that goes with it, you will quickly spend $100,000, like in a heartbeat. And that's not even for the super nice. Now, all of their dynos are nice, but that's for one that'll hold, I think, 1,500 horsepower. Yes, I watch. I am subscribed to Vizard's channel. I've never heard it pronounced Vizard until I saw his videos, and I'd always called him Vizard. So I'll probably continue to screw that up. Lunar Outlaw Garage checking out. Hey, man, Brian, have a good night, buddy. Send me a message one day. We'll talk. Yeah, Carcraft, man. Carcraft was my magazine. Carcraft and Popular Hot Rodding were probably my two favorites. And honestly, this Budget Nova build that I started, it was inspired by Project Cheap Shot, which is a 1992 or 3 project car from Popular Hot Rodding. The editor there, I think Pete Pastier, he died in a motocross accident about 94 or so, 90, somewhere in the early 90s. He died in a motocross accident, but they did Project Cheap Shot, and they built a 12-second Nova for $3,500. So that was pretty cool. Paint job and all, I think. Of course, they've got the Pomona swap meet, and back then everything was a lot cheaper. So, and now everybody wants to cry about the prices of stuff. If you post, I probably need to do a rant video, but if you post a car for sale and it's rusty and you're asking good money for it, people lose their mind. It's a parts car. It's worth $300. And it'll tell you about one they bought for $200 10 years ago, which means nothing now because it's not 10 years ago. It's 2022. And yeah, so, and then if you post a car, you know, they'll tell you that if you post a car for $8,000 that needs quarter panels, well, you're going to have $10,000 in body work. Well, post a car for $20,000 that's just a roller and it doesn't need any body work, and they tell you you're crazy for posting that too. You know, you can't win. You cannot win. Michael Hutchinson had a description of Cartoons magazine. Yep, I remember that. Yes, I have seen that. It could be, now, the Moultrie swap meet in Georgia was Friday, and yesterday I did not get to go. I had other stuff going on. But the last couple I've been to, I have noticed some brand new stuff at the swap meets. All right, Tony, so the future plan for the Budget Nova, I've got the front subframe is in the shop, and I'm working on putting all that together with the brakes. Now, I'm not doing the brakes yet. I'm just trying to get the spindles and stuff mounted. So control arms, all the steering box, all that stuff put on there. Going to get that put together, was already kind of put together. I'm going to finish putting that together, get it under the car, and then I'm going to put the that video will be out first, then the transmission video. And as soon as I get the transmission put together and my torque converter shows up, the motor and transmission are going in the car, and then I'm going to start wiring it up and exhaust, stuff like that. So I'm hoping I'm going to start working on that pretty hard. The weather here is going to look pretty good for the next few weeks. It's going to be in the 60s and 70s and sunshiny for the next 10 days. Just looked at the forecast. So I should be able to get a lot done because the weather's going to be mild enough to where the heat's not going, people's heat isn't going out, so I won't get a lot of no heat calls. And it's not going to be super warm, so I won't get a lot of AC calls. So, old man in the shop, he just got in here. Guys, he just built a hot tank a homemade hot tank. Pretty cool. I need to know. I missed out what chemical were you running in there? So let me know. But yeah, the Nova parts catalogs. Yeah, I've got a J&W catalog. It probably is. They don't update their catalog very often, but I've always had good luck dealing with them. Usually I buy from them at a swap meet or car show, though. I don't typically order from them, but you call them up. Now, it's a small outfit, so if they don't answer, they got other stuff going on. But I like dealing with those, dealing with him. He's a good guy, him and his wife. And they're in Virginia, I think. So if you're not far from Virginia, you probably go pick it up. Classic Industries, I've got some of their catalogs. Let's see here. Edmonton, Canada. Is that what Edmond means? Adam SS Nova. Man, you beat on that valve with a hammer and it unstuck. That's pretty neat. Let's see here. 7.5 gallons of purple power and the rest is water. Well, that's pretty neat. It looked like it came pretty clean. I'd like to build some type of hot tank. I've seen the molasses thing where they de-rust blocks and they use. I've thought about building. I've seen molasses used, which that just seems like a freaking mess. I don't know if I could do that. I'd have ants around my shop for 10 years. I might try to do one of the electrolysis de-rusting. I've got a block with some rust on the inside the water jackets and stuff, and I think I might do an electrolysis one with a battery and a big metal drum. I might try that. Ultrasonic. Yeah, Farm Kid. I've got a small ultrasonic that I use for carburetor parts. It works really well for small stuff. I want to buy me a tumbler so I can clean up some of my. I've got a bucket of nothing but factory bolts that I've taken off of cars over the years. And if I don't reuse them, I save all my factory style bolts and I keep them in separate buckets. So yeah, I can't remember. And I'm talking without looking stuff up. I want to say someone used molasses or something like that for de-rusting. It sounded insane, but I can't remember. Yeah, like if you build a tip over jig like I did, make sure you pay attention to where the weight is shifting. I really should have done that one a little bit different. It was fine, and there's not a lot of weight. The weight is distributed fairly well in that. It was really easy to pick up, and it's really easy to lay down. You could probably do it with one person if you put a handle all the way across it. It would be dumb to do it with one person, but it's not bad. I thought there was going to be a point when the car was raising up. I thought there was going to be a point where it would jump over, and I purposely designed it to where it was going to be a little past center, so it wouldn't be at a teetering position. But it went really smooth up. There was never a point at which the weight just shifted. So I guess I got my center where it needed to be, and then coming down was pretty much the same way. It's not like it got to a point where all of a sudden the weight was on you. It laid over pretty good. Right, that's what I was going to do, is use a battery charger. I said battery, but ship glass and molasses. Wow, that's insane. Why did they ship glass and molasses? So I guess vibrations keep it from breaking? That's pretty neat. A tank exploded. It's over 100 degrees. You can't. Wow, that's pretty neat. Yeah, so my two pieces, without being connected together, I would not, the way I built it, I would definitely not try to put casters on it, just because then it would try to spread out on you. And I'm not sure the way I built it, it was engineered good enough to do that. So we've picked up a bunch of people on here, so I'm going to keep going for a few minutes. But yeah, what I should have done was put some way to mount those two pieces together, and so there's more stability in it, because the only stability issues I had, I say issues, it was a little bit, it moved a little bit this direction. So really, if I would have put something between the two bottom halves that was sturdy, I would have needed some big wheels on it to roll it outside, since I don't have pavement outside of my shop yet. It would have been nice to get it outside, because I made a mess. I've still got dust all over parts of my shop from cleaning the bottom of that car off. It was nasty. Oh, okay. I got you. You flooded it and you washed out your guides. Okay. That's pretty wild. Had a stuck valve in there. Might be worth it to pull the head off. I hope you've changed the oil since then. But yeah, so the tip over jig, like I said, that thing worked really well. I really probably should have used it on this budget build Nova, but when I first started building that, I was really at a time crunch. I still am, because I need to get it done and get it sold. But when I first started building that thing, I was in a time crunch, so I didn't want to take the time to flip it up and clean the whole bottom of it. But then putting the rear end in it, the rear end's nice and clean, and now the bottom of it looks like crap with all the dirt and dust on it. So I guess I should have flipped it over and done that, but it's okay. Macro Machines, I have watched that. I have watched his channel. Pretty good. Deep Creep. Yeah, that's probably not a bad idea. That stuff works pretty well. So what is your guys, any of y'all have any experience getting a motor unstuck? What's your secret formula? Because I'm working on one now that I'm trying to get the motor unstuck on. And I know everybody has some kind of secret recipe of Marvel Mystery Oil, transmission fluid, diesel, KY jelly, something like that. Seafoam stuff, did you like pour a bunch of it in each cylinder? Seafoam Deep Creep, yeah. We used to use the shop I worked at back in the 90s. We used a bunch of Seafoam products. They worked really well. I've used Marvel Mystery Oil and transmission fluid mixed together in the past. I'm not sure if that's the best combination, but okay, cool. Yeah, I'm going to have to try that out. I've got a motor I'm trying to unstick. A huge jolt of electricity into it. So like 1.21 gigawatts. Will that work? As long as I'm going back to 1985 and not 1955, that would be fine. That's right, Tony. You let us talk long enough. KY always comes up in the. All right. Hey, Russ, that is a fantastic idea. I haven't heard about that in a long time. If you have a stuck valve, Adam, you can do that. You can shove some rope in there and rotate the engine over by hand, not with the starter. And it'll push the valve up, and the rope will mostly compress and probably not break anything. Kerosene and Marvel Mystery Oil. Pulling the heads is not an option on this one, not yet. I'm trying to do it without pulling the motor out or pulling the heads off. I think they make Ty Campbell is asking. He's got a 72 Nova with a 700 R4, and he has a heck of a time adjusting the cable. It shifts hard, too hard, and late. Any ideas? Okay, well, if you don't get it adjusted enough, you're going to have low line pressure, and you're going to burn that transmission up really, really quick. So I think there's an aftermarket cable you can buy for that has a better adjustment setting. Been a while since I adjusted a 700 R4, but I know that if you don't get the cable adjustment right, you're going to have low line pressure, and if you get under any load at all on the transmission, you're going to smoke it. So be careful. And like Russ is saying, Farm Kid's saying, what's the fluid smell like? Make sure you've got good fluid and stuff in it, because if your fluid has been overheated or anything like that, you'll lose properties and it'll shift different. Broke the bouncer bolt in the crank and ended up giving it away. Yeah, I will check a motor to see if it's stuck by turning it over by the bouncer bolt, but you always get more torque either from the starter or from the flex plate. And I've got a tool that hooks onto the flex plate and will break your arm if you're not careful. It's a snap-on flex plate grabbing tool, it locks in. You can pull on that and turn it over. And you get a lot more torque that way than you do with the crank bolt. But yeah, Ty, like I said, just use the ring gear. That's right. Flex plate if you got an automatic, ring gear if you got a flywheel. But yeah, 700R4 transmission, it's got a throttle valve cable. A Turbo 350 has a kickdown cable, so it's totally different. But your 204R, your 700R4, they both have a throttle valve cable that adjusts the line pressure according to throttle position. And then your 4L60E, 4L80E, your electronic transmissions, they control it electronically. They've got a pulse width modulation solenoid that controls your line pressure. Yep. Oh, and guys, if you were subscribed to Country Boy Gas Garage, his whole channel got hacked and deleted. Dude had like 20,000 subscribers. So go give him a follow if you haven't. Juan is here from Mexico. How's it going, dude? But Country Boy Gas Garage has this old school bus, like a 53 or something school bus. I can't remember what year it is. Dude's been doing some pretty cool stuff to it. I don't think he had his videos backed up. Well, the problem was his computer. He had an email for a sponsor, someone wanting to do a sponsor video or something like that. And that email was a hack. And he clicked on something in it, and it got all of his Google information, so he can't get to his backup files. He can't get to his email. He can't get to his YouTube account. As of the other day, YouTube can't get to his account. YouTube, so whoever did it, like started a live feed and deleted all his videos, and YouTube deleted that account. And that sucks. So that would be terrifying for me to lose all the work I've put into my channel. So if you guys were subscribed to Country Boy Gas Garage, go resubscribe to his new channel. And if you aren't, go check it out. It's a pretty cool channel. That steak sandwich, dude, it wasn't a steak sandwich, but let me tell you something. We've got a place called 57 Diner that's in a place called Unadilla, Georgia. It's about 25 miles from here. We go down there. It's a small diner in a small town. And when you order a 1 pound steak, they give you a plate of steak. I'm talking about that ribeye was giant. And they give you 2 little pieces of toast that is unbelievably good toast. And it looked like a steak sandwich because I put a picture on Facebook. Some of y'all that are friends with me on Facebook saw the picture. They give you a plate of fries that is this big, and they give you a steak that is also this big with 2 pieces of bread on it. And it was amazing. William Sanders, how's it going, man? But yeah, that steak was good. I still got half of it in the fridge because I couldn't eat all of it. You get twice the steak there for $22 that you do anywhere else, any of the chains. So I had to talk about food and make you hungry, didn't I? JB's Little Shop says $700 R4 cable adjustment. He opens the throttle all the way up, then adjusts the cable until it's tight, and then start from there. So that's a pretty good starting point. A Route 99 diner. Thank you, Juan. The car is sitting a little bit down on the driver's side, so I'm going to have to figure out why. But other than that, I think it turned out pretty good. William, where are you at? I can't remember. Mama's in the kitchen. That just sounds good. And you know, and I think Zach was the one that said it. Anytime they serve you a steak on a paper plate, you know it's going to be good. Can't miss. That's what she said. Absolutely. But yeah, I know all kinds of barbecue places. We go somewhere, Delaware. Hi, I'm in Delaware. Is there anything in Delaware other than William? That's on my to-do list. When we go up to Maine, we're going to do Maine, Massachusetts, Boston, Rhode Island, that whole Vermont. We're going to do a road trip sometime like that. Go up there and get some clam chowder. Yep. So you got, okay, I didn't know if anyone was going to get the high. I'm in Delaware, but you did get it. I do movie quotes all the time and nobody gets them. A hard shift is usually a sign your cable is too tight since it's increasing the line pressure at a quicker rate and it results in a longer, harder shift condition. Fluid smells fine. Work on it more when the weather breaks. Yep. So I guess the problem, Ty, is that when you loosen it up a little bit, it goes back the other way. Lobster. That's right. There's a place my father-in-law used to tell me about, and I can't remember. I'm going to screw up where it's at, but I think I remember the name of it. and it's a place called Parks Seafood. I think it's in Boston, but I can't remember. He used to have to go up there on business all the time, and I want to say it's been open for like 100 years or something like that. Okay, I knew somebody said paper plate. That's right. And we've been going to that diner for a few months now. We didn't know it's been open for a few years. We just heard about it recently, and we started going up there, and we haven't had any bad food up there. I mean, the hamburgers are good, the seafood's good, the steak's good, pork chops. You better like pork chops. You order a pork chop because you're going to have plenty of pork to eat. Yeah, lots of old TV and movie references come out of my mouth all the time, and people either think I'm stupid or they don't get it. Chicken fried steak. I like some chicken fried steak. We have a few Mennonite restaurants around here, similar to Amish, and they always have really, really good food. In Idaho. I'm going to tell you something about Idaho. So in October of 2020, we drove to Yellowstone from Georgia. So we went to Mount Rushmore first, and then we went to Yellowstone. Leaving Yellowstone, I was going to stop by my cousin's house in Salt Lake City. So after we left Yellowstone, we spent the night in Jackson, Wyoming. And there's really no easy way to get from Jackson, Wyoming to Salt Lake City, Utah. So the GPS had us going down like a county road somewhere in Idaho. And we had to stop for about 2,000 head of cattle coming down the road. So, yeah, that's my Idaho experience. Rob, hey, how's it going, dude? Good to see you, man. Good to be here. So, yeah, we drove from Jackson, Wyoming over to somewhere in Idaho and then went south into Salt Lake City. Chicken fried steak and gravy. Yep. I kind of like my chicken fried steak without the gravy. Sometimes with, but yeah, we were on this 2-lane road for probably 20 minutes and hadn't seen another car anywhere. And next thing you know, we saw a truck come over the hill flashing its lights, which I thought was going to be a police officer. And no, it was a couple thousand head of cattle going back. A handful of cowboys driving them back to their property, I guess. It's all open range out there in that southeast corner of Idaho, I guess. All right, guys, got about 4 or 5 minutes here. We're going to knock this off. Any more questions? Idaho for crossing a double yellow since a cop had someone pulled over on a 2-lane and I gave him some room. Oh, that's crazy. Now here, if you're on the interstate here and there's 3 lanes, if a cop's got someone pulled over in either of the outside shoulders, you have to vacate that lane if at all possible, or you'll get a ticket. Oh, you're on the way to Yellowstone. Yeah, we want to go back to Yellowstone in the summer. The Budget Nova one, the Budget Nova next is getting the subframe. That'll be the next video out here in a few days. Will be the subframe getting put under it, and then the transmission getting built, and then the transmission and engine get put in, and then wiring, and then we're going to do something about some type of paint job. Thanks, Tommy. Appreciate that, man. Yeah, well, we're going to get, like I said, I'm about to get caught up on all my work. By the time I think I get caught up on it, it comes back. I'm going to tow my car to Rocky Mountain Race Week in Great Bend, Kansas, and then I'm going to drive it once I get there. I don't like clear coat on old rust and all that. I don't like the clear coat. Old man in the shop, thanks, man. Yeah, Juan, I'm doing a lot better. I'm feeling a lot better health-wise. Oh, what you are driving. I'm sorry, Michael. I misunderstood your – I didn't read that right. Franken-Nova is what I'm taking to Rocky Mountain Race Week. And I'll probably make some changes to it for Rocky Mountain Race Week. Thank you, Ty. I like that. Yeah, the center lines look pretty good on there. I need 2 more center caps. We only had 2 center caps when I got them, but for $200, that was a deal. But yeah, so Rocky Mountain Race Week, I'm taking Franken over there. I'm contemplating building another short block for that one, just because there's nothing wrong with the short block that's in there. But for Frankenova, I really wanted to run the combination like it is. But I'm thinking about putting a hydraulic roller cam in it for Rocky Mountain Race Week, just because I don't want to lose a lifter or something or flatten a cam 400 or 500 miles away from my truck and trailer. So I may put a hydraulic roller in that motor or build another short block. There's nothing wrong with the rest of the short block, but I don't like taking cams out and putting them back in and all that. I'd like to know, at the very least, I'm going to run it at the track with that camshaft in it. That's old technology cam, even though it was a new cam. The comp, that 292H, has been out forever. And I ran it back in the 90s, so and nothing's changed. They've got a lot better technology now in camshafts. I probably could have done better, way better on my cam selection. So what I'm going to do is probably I'd like to run a hydraulic roller if I can find the money to do that. I'd like to run a hydraulic roller for Rocky Mountain Race Week and then go with the overdrive, but I'm not sure if I will or not. Cool. All right, guys. It's time to knock this off. Appreciate everybody hanging out tonight, all the questions and stuff. Probably go live again next Sunday night, just depends, but I'll try to give more heads up, and I'll try to figure out why I could not go start my live stream on the other one tonight that I did. So, cool. All right, Michael, Zach, Juan, Ty, all you guys, Joe Yoder, old man in the shop. Appreciate everybody hanging out tonight, and I'll have another video out here in the next few days. Y'all check out the one I posted today if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.